This is my audience. The telescope, an instrument that has fascinated mankind for hundreds of years. It has even fascinated those who invented it. Those who have dared to see through the eyepiece have seen distant galaxies, planets, stars, even our very own moon. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how to assemble the telescope. I'm going to first begin with assembling the tripod, and then I'm going to begin by mounting the telescope on top of the tripod. So I'm going to begin by assembling the tripod. If you notice, in the tripod, there's a little green ball here. That's an indicator to let you know how leveled the telescope is. So I'm gonna begin by unscrewing the cord here. Okay. Taking out each and every one of the legs. And a rule of thumb when you assemble the tripod is that you kind of want to have it at your chest area. You don't want to have it too low or else you'll be hunching over a lot, or too high for shorter people, because you'll probably struggle a lot trying to see through the eyepiece. So after mounting it, make sure that the bubble is within the middle, the little circle inside, so you know that it's nice and level. After that, make sure everything's locked in place. The next thing is going to be mounting the telescope onto the tripod. So what I'm gonna do is make sure you have your telescope, and always make sure you have your lens cap on the telescope. You don't want to mount the telescope on the tripod because if you mount it, you're probably gonna be inclined to put your fingers on the lens, and that's not good, because when you want to see something, especially even further away, the telescope won't be able to capture that light. So the telescope should come with 2 bolts, 2 little nuts at the bottom. So when you screw it in, it should be able to lock onto the tripod. Don't screw it in all the way, because you want some sort of space, so when you'll be able to lock it in on the tripod. So make sure you just put it into the holes. Make sure you tighten the screws nice and tight, so the telescope won't have any chance to tip over or to just fall over. This is pretty expensive equipment. So the next thing we're gonna do is take off the lens cap. Make sure you don't touch the lens. Put on the light shield. Make sure it's nice and firm. After all this, you're gonna want to make sure, if you're outside, make sure the telescope is gonna be pointing due north. I believe that's north. Due north. After that, make sure everything is locked in place. This is an automatic telescope, so what the telescope does is that it can actually, if you put align it due north, it will align with the stars, and it will actually be able to find planets and other galaxies and nebulas on its own. So then you pick an appropriate lens. After you get done with the alignment process, and after you get done with everything else, you're ready to start stargazing and seeing the distant objects out there in our universe. So I'm going to review what we have gone over. I went over assembling the tripod as the base of the telescope, and I also went over mounting the telescope onto the tripod. If you ever come across a telescope, or if you ever happen to buy yourself one, it will be a lot more easier for you to assemble your telescope and be able to stargaze. Thank you.